What's good, everybody? Welcome into Early Edge Live, your daily sports betting show of record. And this is our Week 3 Sunday countdown to our 1 o'clock games. 9 early games today, 4 4 o'clock games, and then the Sunday night football. So 14 games. We're going to get to every single one over the course of the next hour. As always, pound that like button for me. Let's get to 100 likes. We'll give away a year-long sub to SportsLine. 200 likes. You know the drill, 2, 3, etc. Let's get to 500 today. And I talked to the bosses, and we can have some gear, some early edge SportsLine gear coming your way. Leave your Twitter handle in the comments section, and we will also get to as many questions that you have on props or sides or totals. You put them in there, I'll get to as many as we possibly can. So with that being said, let's bring in the stars of the show. And look at the sharpest minds in all of the land. Starting right next to me, we call him AB. His name, Alan Bell. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach. Good to see everybody here. Ready for a good day.
Let's do it. Now, right below me, he's the guru. He is the prop stars of all prop stars. Alex, welcome back to the show.
What's up, Coach? Look at this crew. I am so stoked. I'm ready to get down Week 3. Let's get it.
I love it when you're stoked, and I love it when you're ready to get down. So I know you're ready. Now, speaking of stoked and getting ready, M squared, man. I know right now you've got a million things going on. What's good?
Not much, man. We're just locked final DFS lineups. Everything's ready to go. And I just want to say smash that like button. We're going to give away some gear at 500. I want to set a record for likes on this video, and we're going to set some record on maybe a perfect day from the crew today. Let's do it.
Wow. A perfect day. I can only imagine what we will come up with if the entire crew goes perfect. Now, our crew is led by one man. He is known simply as the Maestro. Maestro, I know you love Sundays in the NFL season.
I do. Good morning, guys. I'm going to throw a little curveball. I just got a text from somebody who's a pretty important person, and he needs Alex's absolute favorite prop. I know Alex puts out a ton, and we're going to give them all. But if you could think on that and come back to us in a few minutes, because he only wants one, and this guy's pretty important. So I want to give him something good.
Okay. So the president of Caesar Sportsbook has reached out to the early edge to figure out what the best bet is of the day. So we know if we've got 14 games to get to, we better jump right into it. So we're going to do size, we're going to do totals, we're going to do props. Also, don't forget, if you haven't watched it yet, our prop special that we tape every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern time, you've got to get the plays from that as well. My man, Alex, how about 10-1 last week? I'm not a math major, but I think that's pretty good. All right, let's jump into our first game. We're going to go Washington at the Bills. The number right now, -7. The total at 45.5. This is a 1 Eastern game as well from Buffalo. Now, Alan, I'm going to start with you because I know you love yourself a little Buffalo Bills.
Love them, right? I'm going to have some Buffalo wings in honor of them today. Look, I think that this is a perfect matchup for the Bills offense and the Bills defense, right? You look at what Buffalo did against Miami. I think that is going to continue. And as M Squared talked about, in terms of the weather, there's going to be some serious wind up there. I think that helps Buffalo tremendously in regards to Josh Allen over Taylor Heinicke. And plus, Buffalo's been doing it on the ground too, right? Like, it hasn't been all an air show either. But I think that Buffalo is way too strong. And this Washington defense, I don't believe in it. You look at their defensive line, it's not as advertised. They've given up over 390-plus yards in back-to-back games now. I think this sets up perfectly for Buffalo to get a shootout going. And I don't know if Washington can play in that type of game.
Coach, I'm not going to take issue with Allen laying the points at 7, but I will say this has been one of, if not the most sharpest play on the board this week. Professionals, when it started at 9.5, they have just been hammering Washington, and it's come all the way down to 7. So there's no value anymore. If you like Washington now, I mean, you're getting such a bad number. I will just say the thing that gives me pause about Buffalo is Josh Allen, 56% completion rate. The offense just does not look the same. And but we'll see today. I mean, the Washington's defense, like Allen said, has been really bad, really disappointing. We'll see if they can get it going.
All right. Mikey, what do you think, pal?
Yeah, no, I love this game. I am right there with you. I think that the reason why you're seeing sharp money early in the week attack the Washington football team is rest is so key, even early in the season. They played on Thursday Night Football. This is a longer week for them, gives them way more time to prepare for this matchup. That's why I think that people tend to think it's going to be more competitive. The wind is also the factor. So the one thing that I want you to look out for, and what I've done in this game, by the way, if you didn't watch the early edge this morning, -1 and then under 51.5. That's the teaser that I have on this game. They're going to slow this game down just a little bit. The wind is going to have an impact. We're going to look and going to get an under on this one. I love that our colleague RJ White was already on the under in this one all week. But what's going to happen here, if you remember when we played the Daniel Jones over on the rushing prop, this Washington football team is actually going to be good enough to get pressure on Josh Allen, and they're also going to play a little bit more man coverage than a lot of other defenses they face will. So Josh Allen look to run more. That's going to keep the clock running. He's going to extend drives that way. I'm not super worried about the accuracy down the field in the wind anyway, but I do picture a little more conservative game call. I do picture running the clock a little bit more. That's why I love the under 51.5. And ultimately, I do think they get the win at home. So that's why I like the -1.
Man, I love these same game parlays. Absolutely love them. So get those in. Real quick, we've already hit 100 likes, so thank you very much for following those orders. And we have our first winner on the show, and it is of course, I hit the scroll down button right when I say that. At King Edward 15. At King Edward 15. The jeweler will reach out to you on social media and let you know how you are now the newest member of SportsLine for the next year for free. Quick YouTube question for Alex before we get away from this game. Under 267.5 passing yards for Josh Allen. Alex, your thoughts?
I lean towards the under on this one. I personally, this was a hard game for me to get a strong read on regarding props. I think Washington is going to perform better than they have the first 2 weeks. We saw two very different versions of the Bills in the first 2 weeks. I think Washington's defense may have been overrated coming into the season. I personally overrated them. But yeah, I expect them to perform better than they did. I expect them to get after Josh Allen a little bit. Yeah, so I actually would look under on this prop.
Okay, very good. We do have so many people in the comment section doing exactly what we ask you to do. Leave your Twitter handle, pound that like button. You can only do it once, but we need to get to as many likes as possible. We're going to give away 2 more year-long subs if we can get to 200 likes, and keep those questions coming on any props, sides, or totals that you want us to hit on over the course of the show. Now, our next game, very, very interesting here, guys. And Maestro, I'm going to start with you. Bears at the Browns, that deadly hook. 7.5. They've got Justin Fields. He looked dynamic in the preseason. What are we going to get? We have no idea. The total set to 44.5. Your take on this game?
Dynamic in the preseason, not so dynamic last week. Should be better today. The only way I could look in this one, I'm not playing it, is to take the points just because Cleveland's got some pretty big issues on the offensive line. But there is a prop I'm interested in. You know, Beckham is going to play first action. His number has come way down. I was looking to maybe go under. Jalen Johnson is a tremendous corner who's probably going to be matched up on him with no Jarvis Landry. That number is all the way down to 43.5. Wow. Just wondering, Alex, what you think of that prop on Odell Beckham.
Yeah, I like that prop. I'm expecting Odell to play close to a full complement of snaps. When he's on the field, I'm expecting him to be targeted. No Jarvis Landry. Obviously, you know, the narrative is that Odell did not have a great connection with Baker, and I do think that is somewhat true. But looking back, I think in the 6 games he played last year with Baker, he went over this, and it was either 4 or 5 of the games. I think he's going to get plenty of targets. There's no other viable pass catching options on the Browns. So yeah, I like that prop. Another prop that I played, it might be too low of a number right now, is Justin Fields. Is under his passing yards. I think I got it around 212. I'm not sure what it's presently at, but yeah, I expect Fields to struggle. I expect him to run the ball a lot. I expect him to do what a lot of rookie quarterbacks do, where he locks on to his first read, and then if it's covered, he then takes off with his legs. I like his rushing prop, but yeah, I'm looking to fade him and go under on his passing yards.
You know, I'll say this. I'll jump in real quick. You know, what interests me about this game, specifically Justin Fields, is yeah, he can move around, but this defense in Cleveland is fast. Like, they can run right there with him. So I'm looking at a game to where is Justin Fields going to have to beat them in the pocket, right? And you look at what Cleveland does. Nick Chubb has a rushing touchdown in 8 straight games. So, I mean, you know, there's a prop for you right there. But 2, Cleveland just likes to just jam it down here, right? Like, just control the game, control the clock. I'm fascinated to see what this Bears offense looks like.
AB, real quick, I know you gave this out when it was -7. It's got up to 7.5. Do you like it at 7.5, or would you buy the half point down to 7? What's your philosophy on that?
I'd buy the half point down, honestly, just in this one because it is a lot of points, and it could get weird, right? And especially for a team like Cleveland, you're getting them in a great spot coming off that hangover game against Houston last week. I think you're going to see a much better game out of them, but man, 7.5. We've seen how favorites have done so far in the NFL. I think it's only 33% against the spread. You're just playing with fire there. I'd rather pay to get the number down and just,
I agree.
There.
I agree. I think the Browns are going to be very, very motivated based off of what happened at the end of last week's game, not finishing, certainly not covering. That was good for the show. But I also think that Justin Fields might be a little bit better than we're all giving him credit for. I think he's going to play well today. I just really do. I think he's going to get at least 2 touchdown passes. And so I'm leaning to the over. That's what I like. But where we stand as a show on this game, AB, you're on the Browns, buying it down to 7. Dave Richard from our prop special, he loves the Justin Fields over 1.5 touchdown prop at plus 150. And then David Mad Max gave out this morning on the show, David Montgomery, over 15.5 receiving yards. He got that at FanDuel. All right, moving on to our third game on the board. Ravens, that deadly hook again, minus 7.5 at Detroit. The Lions 1 Eastern. Total is 50.5. Mikey, let's start with you, pal.
Yeah, I'm totally off of the game. I think that it's a massive letdown spot for Baltimore. The issue is I think that they can still get it done. I think the only thing that I would really, if you want to play into the narrative of it being a true letdown spot, I think the only thing that I would have some interest in would be the over, but you've kind of already seen the market react that way as well. As this one opened at 48, it's now sitting at 50 to 50.5. So I unfortunately don't have anything to play in this game. I think that it's okay if you want to tease it and get the Ravens down a little closer and under a field goal. I think that that's probably the only way that I would take it. The model's going to tell you that there's maybe a tiny edge right there, but I do think it's got San Francisco game written all over it, where you have a late backdoor cover. As the game's completely out of hand, but not out of hand. I think that that's what we're going to see from the Ravens today.
Larry, I know you're on a prop in this game.
Yeah, on a prop and also on the side with over a touchdown with the Lions. I wish I got an 8.5, but I will still take 7.5 with this terrible team just because of the spot, but also the injuries. We're talking about the left tackle. We're talking about the nose tackle. We're talking about Justin Houston. Those guys, 4 defenders on the COVID list. I just think that's a lot to overcome. Jared Goff can get us through the back door. And on the other side, I will take Sammy Watkins over 41.5 receiving yards. As I mentioned, Marquise Brown, I'm sure, is playing, but he had an ankle. He only got in that limited practice on Friday, and Watkins has gone over it already twice. It's a terrible Lions secondary, as we know.
Let me also say this, and Alex, I've got a question for you, so hang tight there. Dave and Max are both on Tyson Williams over 56.5 rushing yards for Dave, and then Max likes the combination of over 70.5 rushing and receiving yards for Tyson Williams as well. Now, Monday, Alex, we were all over Hawkinson, TJ Hawkinson. His number is over 5.5 catches. The first 2 weeks, he had 8 in both games. Do you like the over?
If I had to choose, I'd pick over. But at the same time, I do think that number is accurately set. I expect them to continue to have a huge target share and be the focal point of Detroit's passing offense. But I also think that comes with a lot of added defensive attention. We did see the Ravens struggle covering tight ends. But, yeah, I think that number is accurately set. But if I had to choose, I'd lean over.
And you do have a prop in this game. You like Lamar Jackson under 27.5 pass attempts, correct?
Correct, Coach. Yeah, I like this one quite a bit. He's been held under in 15 of his last 19 games, including the playoffs, dating back to last season. In games that he's won, he averages 21 passing attempts per game. Obviously, the Ravens are large favorites. I expect them to win against Detroit. In games that he's won, that he started, the under has hit in 33 of 38 games. It's an 87% hit rate. So, yeah, the Ravens, when they're large favorites, tend to run the ball a lot, tend to minimize Jackson from throwing the ball. So I just expect a run-centric attack. I expect all the backs to get involved. Tyson Williams, some Latavius Murray, maybe even a couple Devontae Freeman touches. And, I don't think Lamar is going to have to throw the ball a lot for Baltimore to win today. So, I love under 27.5 passing attempts.
I am blown away how you find props to have a 75% value. Earlier this year, if everybody's wondering, he found prop stars. We had one that happened 2% of the time. and we cashed it. Two. That's crazy. That's crazy. All right, moving on. Keep those comments coming. Ding, 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 ding. Stop the show. We just hit 200 likes just like that. You listen to Mikey, it happens. All right, we got another winner at Kelly_LG. Kelly, welcome to the fam. You're the latest winner of a year-long sub to SportsLine. Jeweler will reach out to you. Now, let's get to 300 likes. I'll give away 3 year-long subs. If we can get to 300 likes, continue to pound that like button. Okay, our next game on the board, Colts and the Titans. And a couple of comments in our YouTube section said, hey, all the guys were on the Titans early on in the week. I haven't heard much since. So let's hit that right now. The number sitting at -5 for the Titans. The total at 47. And I believe, Alex, it is your turn to start us on this game. What do you like?
Yeah, so I guess, with the news of Carson Wentz playing, I'm way more inclined to favor the Colts here. The Titans have been a little bit disappointing in the first 2 games. I know they won last week, but I don't think they've met expectations. On the other side, the Colts as well. Being a divisional game, I expect it to be competitive. I expect Wentz to be successful. I think he's a little bit better than he's shown. So, yeah, I'm personally leaning Colts on this one, and I'd also look over.
AB, I know you got some in this game. Talk to me.
Yep, I got Titans -5, and I feel great about it, and I'll tell you why. Popstars is correct. The Titans offense has not really shown anything of what it's going to be, but I think today is the day that they open it up. We haven't seen Ryan Tannehill and Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown and Julio Jones kind of all mesh together. They've got a new offensive coordinator in Todd Downing. There's some things that they're working out in regards to that. But you look at Derrick Henry. You see the stat below. His last 3 games against the Colts, he's rushed for 430 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's had 100-plus yards in all 3 of those games, and that is not going to change. Where you're going to see the Titans offense open it up today is the quick strike passing to alleviate a little bit of their offensive line injuries that they've had. But I will tell you this, here in Nashville, it has been absolutely dead quiet from the Titans side all week because Mike Vrabel has been letting this team know that if you want to actually win things in this league, this is the type of game that you have to win in the division at home. You don't screw around with these games. He's been hard on them all week. I'm telling you, this offense is going to explode today.
I'm going to lean with Alex, and I'm not going to play it right now, but there's a lot of systems that the Colts fit. We talk about 0-2 desperation. I'm not saying they win the game, but this is a lot of points in a division game for a desperate team. 0-2 against a 1-1 team is 70%. 0-2 getting more than 4 points is also around 70% going back several years. This from Steve Makinen, a guy that has great info. So the Colts fit a lot of great systems and obviously the desperation.
Yeah,
Mikey?
I'm right there with everyone on the Colts side. I think that if you look at like teams, and I know a lot of people don't look at expected data as much as I do, but in terms of their drives and the expected number of points they should have scored this season, it's obviously nowhere near what it should be. They've had a lot of, whether you call it bad performance, bad luck, whatever you want to call it, they have not scored the number of points that they should have based on how they've moved the football. Now they've got Wentz back. I think if he's able to play, I think he's healthy. So what I'm looking at most right now, though, is the over 47 is sitting at -105. That thing could potentially drop to 46.5. I think the over is probably the best play at this thing. At 47, it's fine, but at 46.5, it's a really, really, really strong play. These division games tend to get very competitive. There's a number of big playmakers on both sides of the ball. And I think that both of these teams are very questionable especially in the passing game in terms of the defensive efficiency. So I like the over in this one. I haven't made it an official play yet. I for sure will if it gets to 46.5 without having to buy anything on it. But that's where I'm at on it.
No, I love it when all you guys jump in and have your take. So real quick before we get off this game, we did have a YouTube comment. Since we now know that Carson Wentz is going to play, Alex, I'll let you take this one. Where do you stand on a Himes prop, either rushing and or receiving was the question?
I'm not sure what Hines' numbers are off the top of my head. I do have a prop from this game that I do like a lot, though.
Go ahead. Give it. Yeah. I knew you did. Go ahead.
I like Michael Pittman Jr. over 47.5 receiving yards. I think it might be up to maybe 50.5 right now. With the news that Wentz is playing, I think that buys very well for him. We saw him have a disappointing week 1, had a monster week 2. Tennessee has a terrible secondary. I think they've allowed 6 receivers to go over 50 receiving yards. Wentz just doesn't have a lot of receiving options. There's not a lot of viable pass catching options on the Colts. They pretty much have Michael Pittman. I think Paris Campbell's inactive, Zach Pascal, and then they throw the ball to Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor. So yeah, I expect Michael Pittman and Jr. to have a really nice receiving day.
All right, we do have those Hines numbers real quick. The rushing numbers are 15.5, and the receiving numbers is 24.5. Anybody like either one of those for our viewer?
I'll look it up quickly while I'm doing that. Pittman, by the way, I have at 56.7, so I do have the same edge that Alex does on that one for anyone curious.
Okay. All right, look that up.
Rushing yards, I have rushing yards 24.9, receiving yards 35. So let's see, big time over on the receiving yards.
Okay, and the thing I love about this show, people ask me all the time, do you guys really, when you're looking down, really putting in real bets? And the answer is yes, we all do it. And that's what we're supposed to do. We don't give you a play and then don't play it ourselves. So you said bang the receiving yards, right? Or the rushing yards?
Yeah, I think that I probably like the combined the most at 46.5, considering the edges that I have on both. I think that's going to be the better play. If not, receiving would be the second. I think that if he's going to be on the field, it's going to be receiving. It's going to be competitive game, likely trailing. I think the game script is absolutely beautiful for him.
Oh, I like it. I like when we can turn a comment into something for everybody to play. So those Hines numbers, you heard Mikey say it. He likes the combined the most, but the receiving yards more than the rush yards. All right, we got to move on because we got to get to every single game on the board. Next one, this is a very, very interesting game because you got a Chiefs team that, get this number, boys, 2-13 against the spread in their last 15 games. They just don't cover. They're just too comfortable being behind, and there's no urgency there. So they are laying 7 at home, a 1 Eastern kick, which, as we know, for the Chargers, on paper, you'd think is not good. But West Coast teams playing in the East Coast or Central Time Zone playing really good this year, guys. Total sitting at 54.5. I believe we're back to AB. What do you got?
Yeah, Coach, I look at that bottom stat right there. The Chiefs are 4-0 straight up and against the spread following their past 4 losses. I am fascinated to see if this team kind of had, not a come-to-Jesus meeting, but something similar to that. I'm fascinated to see because we don't get them in this spot very often. Now, an interesting stat regarding the Chiefs and the Ravens, both in the same category. They're averaging 30 points plus per game offensively. They're also defensively allowing 30-plus points per game, right? So I can't figure out what the issue is here. I know that their defense, the run defense has some minor issues that they need to fix, and I think Spags will, but I can't play it because you see the number 2-11 against the spread the last 13. Like, it's fun, but it just doesn't work out for you. But this might be the spot. It fascinates me coming off a loss.
Interesting. Anybody else want to?
Yeah,
go ahead, Larry.
No strong play, but there's no way I could lay a full touchdown with this defense. Ward is out, the cornerback. Frank Clark is out for the Chiefs. The Chargers, every single game they play seems like it comes down to the last possession, even though they're not executing in the red zone at all. I think we all agree they've got plenty of offensive talent and should do very well against this team. I mean, it's going to be a shootout. It's going to be fun. I just couldn't lay a full touchdown here.
Yeah, that's why I'm leaning more towards the total here because I just want to watch and have fun. And being a Kansas City Chiefs fan like me and Mikey are, for whatever reason, for our entire lifetime, our defensive backfield has been horrendous. And I don't know what it is, but you come to Kansas City, you can't cover anybody. I mean, when I say don't cover anybody, they're wide open. Lamar Jackson's like, let me play against this defense every freaking week, and I would love it. All right, we've got a big audience watching right now, but yet we're only at 280 likes. Take the time, please. It's very, very, very important. Hit that like button. Take the comments down. Hit the like button. Put the comments right back up. All right, let's get to 300, then 400, then 500. Let's change some lives today. All right, now, I believe before we move on that, Alex, you have a play from this game that I absolutely love. Give it to me.
I know you do, Coach. Yeah, it's Austin Eckler over 37.5 receiving yards. I believe it's at 40.5 right now. I'd still play it there after a really weird week 1 where Eckler had 0 targets in the passing game. He finished week 2 against the Cowboys with 9 targets. He turned that into 9 catches for 61 yards. He's had tremendous success historically against the Chiefs. He's gone over this number in 4 of their last 5 matchups for an 80% hit rate. He's averaged 65 receiving yards over that same span in those 5 games versus Kansas City. Even an injury-plagued 2020 season last year, he still managed 40 receiving yards per game. In 2019, we saw him manage 62 receiving yards per game. Last year, the Chiefs surrendered more receiving yards to opposing running backs than any other defense in the NFL. They gave up 846 receiving yards to running backs last year, 52 receiving yards per game. I love this spot for Eckler. I think there's a lot of ways he can get it. If they're trailing, they're going to be targeting him. If it's a competitive game script, they're going to be targeting him. He's a huge mismatch. The Chiefs can't cover him out of the backfield whatsoever. So yeah, I love Austin Eckler over. I had it at 37.5. I think it's up to 40.5 right now. I'd still play it over at that number.
Yeah, I got it at the exact number I got it this morning because I wasn't about to let you big time me here on the show. That put it in early. I got it at 39.5 was the number that I got it at. So I love that. Also, by the way, Dave Richard from our prop show, he likes the Justin Herbert over 26.5 completions minus 115. So we had a YouTube question. Do we like the over 41.5 pass attempts for Herbert if we like that completion number? Anybody? I mean, that's
a high now. It's a high
number. It's a high number. It's like 42 to cash it.
Yeah, I can tell you I have it at 39.6 is the median number. So it would be, I wouldn't feel great about playing the under on it. I would lean to the under if I had to play it. If you're looking at the over at that, you're either looking at 2 scenarios. 1, you're looking at the Chiefs covering, or 2, you're looking at the total going over. I think that those are the scenarios where you're getting 42 plus pass attempts.
And I can see it because the Chiefs pass defense is so bad and they don't guard anybody. You could see a 28 for 33 day or 28 for 34 day very easily. Very easily that could happen. I would lean more towards the completions than the attempts. Just like
keep in mind the problem with the poor defense on there. The problem is if it's too poor, they're having completions, which is eating up yards, which actually will eliminate some of the passing attempts. So you got to be careful with some of those. 100%.
Educate, entertain, courtesy of M Squared. All right, we are approaching the bottom of the hour. You're watching Early Edge Live. We do it every single Sunday at noon Eastern, 1 Eastern, right up to the start of the early game. So, Saints, Patriots. Let's move on. And Maestro, you're going to start us on this one. The Pats laying 3 at home. The total is 43. Both teams come in 1-1, and they've had 2 completely different kind of performances. Maestro, what do you make of this number?
Yeah, I like it at under 3 for the Patriots at home. We talked about the ref stats this morning on the early edge, which seem to favor the Patriots, but it's more just the limited offensive weapons that the Saints have. 3rd straight road game, not a great situation. Mac Jones taking care of the ball. They're going to have their corners, Roby and Lattimore, but he's going to play, I believe, cautious. He's going to hit the tight ends. They're going to run the ball. This is going to be a tight game, but I do like it at less than a field goal.
All right. Anybody have any pause that they win their first game? Mac Jones gets a little bit of confidence, and now you come back home and you're taking on a team that on paper they should be able to win. Anybody agree or disagree with the Maestro on that? I like the Pats today.
I'll say this. I like the Pats too. I think that how they're going to win this game obviously is defensively, what they've been doing. And take a look. If you have any props out there for J.C. Jackson in terms of an interception, this guy's numbers are insane. Like this guy, he creates a turnover legitimately every game almost. It's nuts. But yeah, I think that Bill Belichick and his defense are going to give Jameis Winston fits. He's going to throw those amoeba defense style looks out there just to confuse the guy. It's going to be a fun game to watch. It might not be high scoring, but it's going to be a really fun chess match between these two.
I'd almost lean towards the money line, too. I think it's around 148 minus 150. That might be a way to play, too. Had a good suggestion in the YouTube comments. Maestro, I don't want to put you on the spot. Maybe you can grab these in the next couple of minutes. The really cool NFL ref numbers you gave out this morning on the show, do you have those handy that you give out to the people watching this afternoon on kind of the trends on the refs?
Yeah, I remember that in terms of the Patriots. They've had 4 games with this ref, Hussey, a total of 12 penalties, 3 per game, and also home teams covering around 57 or 58% with this particular ref. And all of this is credit to the account NFL Ref Stats.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. One other play that we're on in this game, Dave from our prop show, he likes James White over 49.5 total yards. That's receiving and rushing in that game as well. Okay, moving on to probably the least watched game of the entire day. Falcons in the Meadowlands to face the Giants. The Giants are giving 2.5. The total sits at 47. As a team, we don't have any prop plays on this game, but I believe now we're going to have Mikey start the conversation. You can have this game, Mikey. What do you like?
Yeah, I mean, I actually think it could be a pretty darn competitive game. I need to look and see where the Saquon props are at right now. I am expecting if Saquon Barkley is healthy and right and like going to be right this season, I think this is the spot that they truly unleash him. So I have a lot of exposure to him in daily fantasy today, largely due to the price point. But I do think that they unleash him today after rest. We talked about the long rest with the Washington football team. Had pretty decent carries at times and looked okay in that game, but I think they're going to unleash him here. So I'm trying to pull up the prop and see
it's 61
where
and
it's
a half,
at.
I believe, Mike.
61.5. So, okay, I would lean to the over on that. I have it at 70, but I'm also very cautious with the edges on someone like Saquon, just for all the reasons that I've mentioned there. Rush. Yeah, no, it's already 71.5. Someone has clearly beaten us to the market on that. It's dead on where my number is now almost. Yeah, I don't have any play in the game now. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I got nothing.
Let's go Larry first, and then Alex go. Larry.
No, I just say Booker's inactive, and Barkley's got the extra rest. I haven't heard of the guy that's the official backup today. Alex, I'm curious what you think about Galladay.
Yeah, I called Galladay on Twitter earlier in the week. I was assuming the tirade he had in the sidelines would result in a little bit of squeaky wheel treatment. But yeah, a report just came out prior to us going on that the wide receiver coach said that he's going to be on a snap count. I believe it's his hip that's bothering. His hip plagued him all of last season. I'm not sure. Do we know his status, if he's active or inactive? Because I know there's a chance that he misses the game. He was questionable coming into the game. If there is the opportunity to hedge out, I would consider that. But yeah, I do think that his contract comes with a target share. Yeah, so Galladay,
he's active. Yeah,
he's active. Okay, yeah, I would not play his over at this stage, knowing that he's going to be on a snap count. I agree with Mike. I like Saquon. I shouldn't say I love Saquon. I like Saquon. I like what I've seen. I like that he's had 10 days off. He's not on the injury report for the first time this season. Yeah, I'm expecting him to get a healthy workload, potentially 15 carries. A couple targets in the passing game. A prop that I gave out on Twitter a few minutes before we went live that I like is Cordell Patterson over 22.5 rushing yards. He had 7 carries in the first 2 games. He looked like the more effective runner in between the tackles. I've heard Arthur Smith is willing to use a hot hand approach. He was in on all the Falcons' most crucial downs in the last game versus the Bucs. And yeah, I think he's going to have between 7 and 10 carries and what projects to be a competitive game script. So yeah, if you can still find Cordell Patterson, I haven't projected at 38 yards. So yeah, if you can still find him for in the under 25 yards, I'd like him.
I apologize for laughing as you were giving us this great dissertation on all these props that you have, and the people over in the comment section are worried about Mikey having his dog walker walk in to grab cheap today. You're like all serious and everything. All right, we've got 3 winners. We've hit the 300 likes scenario. So here are the winners. Welcome to the family. And you have a year-long subscription to SportsLine. It's invaluable. At Yuri_NJ, at Brady Bean Wavy, and at Mars307T. Now, there is somebody who did not win. And guys, I got to tell you, very, very disappointed. My man C. Carter NYC. Bring that up, jeweler. He says, did you guys do the 300 like giveaway yet? My damn wife called me. Don't take the call. Don't take the call. There's something way more important. But she might yell at you, so you may want to take the call. But if we get to 400, we may give out a couple more, but we're also going to give out a brand new Early Edge SportsLine t-shirt. If we get to 400, we get way more than watching right now. Pound that like button. All right, moving on. We got to keep it moving because we get to every single game on the board during this hour. Let's go to the Steel City. The Bengals come to town. Pittsburgh, they looked very pedestrian last week. Raiders clearly were the better team on the field, but they're giving 2.5. The total sits at 43. Alex, you're starting this one for us.
Yeah, I'm feeling the Bengals here, Coach. I think Pittsburgh's offensive line is as bad, if not worse, than advertised. I think Big Ben looks cooked to me. No Deontay Johnson. The defense is missing a bunch of key starters. On the other side of things, I've been pleasantly surprised with the Bengals defense. I think their defense has been solid this year. In the first 2 games, I think they held Dalvin Cook and David Montgomery to identical stat lines of 21 carries for 60 yards. So, yeah, that front seven has played well. I like the Bengals. If I were to have a strong lean as far as the total is concerned, I'd probably go over, but I feel a lot more confident in the Bengals than I do the total.
Okay. RJ White is on the Bengals today, plus the 4.5. If anybody is wondering, we didn't have too many things in this game. Go ahead, Meister. You got something for us?
I mean, that number is an unbelievable number that RJ got. It's 2.5 now. I mean, just steady money on the Bengals, even though, as the graphic points out, they've been horrific on the road. No TJ Watt, I think. I mean, even though Bush is back, Hayden is back, no TJ Watt. I mean, he is their most important defensive guy. Burrow's going to have time. I like Jamar Chase to go over his prop. I hope Alex likes it as well, but no T. Higgins in the lineup. So it's Boyd and Chase who should get a lot of targets, over 61.5 for me on Jamar Chase.
All right. I like that a lot. Over 61.5 on Jamar Chase as an official play for the Maestro. All right. Moving on to our next game. This is one that maybe on paper people are not that interested in, but if there's one thing I've learned from M Squared, you can't just look at the teams to see a game that's very, very interesting. So the Cardinals are giving 7.5 on the road in Jacksonville. Jacksonville has that long losing streak on the field still going. The total sits at 51.5. AB is gone, so Maestro, let's come back to you, pal.
Yeah, I jumped on this at 7. Anything over 7, I don't want to play. This is a huge public side. I am not sharp on this play. It is strictly going by the fact that the Jacksonville defense is terrible, and I think Kyler Murray is going to have a big day. DeAndre Hopkins is active, even though he didn't practice all week. But I don't feel comfortable laying over a touchdown. Every system, every trend will tell you take the 0-2 team getting so many points. Every professional and their brother is on the Jaguars getting all the points. I'm going by what I see so far, and I like fading, Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence.
I just can't see. I don't know. I just, certainly I'm not going to play Jacksonville because I can see the Cardinals, winning 31-7, 31-14. But everything you said, Maestro, points to these are NFL teams. Mikey, your thoughts on this number with that hook just sitting out there?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to play it, I would lay it with Arizona. But the good news is I don't have to play it. I think this one's going to be a popular, very popular teaser option. I think that, honestly, that's the only way I'd really feel comfortable playing it at this point. If you didn't get in on 7 before it moved, the Cardinals are obviously the better team. They should go out there. Like, it's not going to stun me at all if they win this game by 3 touchdowns. I'm not betting it. If I had to, it would be Arizona and a teaser, but I have essentially nothing, no real interest in this game at all.
Yeah, and neither do I. So we're going to move on to our next game, and now we've arrived.
Coach, we have a question from the comments wanting to get what Alex was going to say on the previous game, Bengals Steelers.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, no worries. There's a prop that I like that I haven't given out, or I might have given out on the prop show earlier. Had Najee Harris under 68.5 rushing yards. I think it might be down to 65.5. I'd still play it there. I touched on the Bengals defense, how they've been a lot better than people realize. On the other side, the Pittsburgh's offensive line has just been dismal, been terrible, probably the worst offensive line in the league. Also, all the advanced metrics suggest Najee is playing poorly too. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate. Is it the running back that's playing poorly, or is it the offensive line? It's a combination of both. Najee has been bad. The line has been bad. I like his under. If you can get it at 65.5, I'd play it down to that. It was at 68.5. So yeah, as far as the Cardinals and Jaguars game is concerned, good luck if you're playing any unders in this game. I think this is going to be an extremely fast-paced game. Ton of offense, ton of throwing. I think there's some interesting overs in this game.
All right, keep those unders, or excuse me, keep those overs if that's something you want to do over the course of the next about 20 minutes until kickoff as we continue to count down. This is Early Edge Live. Thanks for hanging out with us every Sunday at noon Eastern time to 1. Don't forget, we'll be back tonight from 7 p.m. Eastern to 8 as we count down to Sunday Night Football. Now, this is an interesting game as well, as Denver comes home for the first time this year. They've gone on the road, and as hard as it is for me to digest, they are in first place, along with the Raiders, in the AFC West. And now they get their first home game. And once you know it, it's against the New York Football Jets, who are 0-2 and looked horrible a week ago with their new rookie quarterback just throwing interception after interception. So, Mikey, let's start with you. The number is 10. The total is 41.5. Your thoughts?
I would lean towards the Jets plus 10 and a half. I still think it's a lot of points for this Broncos team to cover. They've been obviously very good so far this season, but I do think the Jets are a little better team than what the record indicates and how they've played at times. So that's where I would lean. I think it's a decent candidate, especially if it's 10 and a half anywhere still. I think it's a decent candidate for a teaser the other way as well, getting this one up to 16 and a half. I think that's a pretty good number for the New York Jets.
Okay. We just need 7 more likes, everybody. 7 more likes to get to 400, and I'm going to give away, count them 4. The boss is called 4 year-long subs. If we get to 500 before the end of the show, I'm giving away a T-shirt that nobody has yet. It's like limited edition. So let's get to 500. We know we have that many that are watching. So anybody else? This game also is very lightly played around the league simply because it's a bad team against a team that a lot of people don't believe in yet. But, yeah. Meister, you got something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not laying more than 10, certainly, but I'm definitely leaning to Denver at 10 just because this is their first home game. They had, a couple of impressive road wins. This is going to be a game, I think, where home field matters, plus the altitude, plus a rookie quarterback. Yes, Zach Wilson's faced 2 good defenses in the Panthers and the Patriots, but I think we all agree that the Broncos defense is probably on the level, if not maybe a little better at home. So I see another long day for him. I think the Broncos left a lot of points off the board last week. They're fired up. I mean, they're 2-0. They're coming home. Yeah. So I like this one, but I'm definitely not laying more than 10 points for sure.
Here's a number I want everybody at home to wrap their head around because we all sleep on him. We have his entire career, but for some reason, all Teddy Bridgewater does is cover the spread. Here's a number that's going to blow your mind. 38-14. That's a 73% clip. He covers the spread as a starter in the NFL, and that's the best in NFL history with at least 20 starts. He's the absolute best. So let's not sleep on him. By the way, Zach Wilson, 10 sacks, 41 pressures this season. Both of those are the most in the NFL. All right, moving on now. Another 4:05 Eastern start. The other team that is first place in the AFC West, we're talking about the Raiders, laying 3.5, total 45. Dolphins come to town. Tua has been ruled out for several weeks. He has a rib issue. So now here comes Jacoby Brissett to town. So let's say that, Alex, you're going to start the discussion on this game. What do you like?
I'm a believer in the Las Vegas Raiders. I think that they're good. I think they're good on both sides of the ball. I've been really impressed with Carr. He's super game. I think he's got some decent weapons on the outside. Obviously, we know about Darren Waller. I like Kenyon Drake out of the backfield. On the other side, I think the Raiders front 7 is better than advertised, or at least better than they've been recently. I like the Raiders here. As far as the Dolphins are concerned, they have not played well. I expected their defense to be a lot better. I expect their defense to perform better than they have in the first couple of weeks, but I am not a believer in Jacoby Brissett. So, I'm leaning Raiders here. And as far as the total is concerned, I would look under.
Do you smell that? Do you guys smell that in the air? I think I smell a SportsLine showdown bet. Maestro, are you still on the Dolphins today?
I am on the Dolphins. I'm on the Dolphins at 4 or above. I am not going to only get 3 or 3.5 in this game. I love the Raiders too. I believe I've been on them both of the first 2 weeks. I like Brian Flores so much. I think getting embarrassed 35-0, having Brissett with a full week of practice with Will Fuller back. He had a touchdown drop by Devontae Parker last week. He's not that bad. I think he'll play better today. I think probably the Raiders win by a field goal. I took 4. I don't want to go head to head with Alex.
Okay. Fair enough. I understand. I have to really feel good about a SportsLine showdown bet, or it has to be against Zach, and then I'll take any of those. So real quick, YouTube comment, thoughts on any I know you mentioned his name, but you didn't really talk to his props. Kenyon Drake today in this game. Anybody like his plays?
Yeah, I do, Coach. I love his receiving prop. Shout out to Doug, prop bet guy. He gave this play out, I believe, yesterday. It was Kenyon Drake over 2.5 catches. It's juiced. I think it's around minus 160. I absolutely love this play. I believe Jacobs is ruled out. Yeah, they've been using him a lot out of the backfield. I think he's had 4 catches in both games. He's been over 50 receiving yards in both games, I believe, as well. So, yeah, they're using him a lot. He's running a lot of routes out of the backfield. They're still using the corpse of Peyton Barber to run in between the tackles for some reason. But, yeah, I think Kenyon Drake has been a really nice surprise. He was a nice addition. They're paying him a lot, so he's going to be on the field. And, yeah, he's by far their most dynamic running back. And, yeah, he's been really good out of the backfield catching passes. So I expect that to continue today.
Go ahead, Mikey.
I want to say I do, you see two guys here that are obviously very sharp on different sides of the game. I do think this one is very competitive, and that's why I like Henry Ruggs on the over 42.5 receiving yards. I think that they're finally going to start using him. We saw it last week with the 7 targets. He had 5 catches. That is good news. One thing you want if you're catching passes from Derek Carr or receiving passes or getting targets, you need to catch the ball. He wants you to catch the ball. Obviously, every quarterback does, but it goes a long way in his confidence and going your direction. I think that's why he leans on Darren Waller so much. But I love seeing Ruggs get 7 targets last week. This number at 42.5 is way too low if we think he's going to be anywhere close to 7 targets again. Even frankly, if we think he's going to hit 5 targets, this number is too low. So I like the over on Henry Ruggs. I'm actually going to go ahead and play it right now. So I have this number 59 yards, and I think that number could be low.
Okay, Coach, just Mike mentioned, respect people he respects on both sides of this. In the Circa contest, the Raiders are the number 1 pick, and the Dolphins are the number 4 pick. So you don't often get that where top 5 consensus is against each other.
It's so weird because they're playing a backup quarterback that I know he's had history in the NFL, but still to be number 4 and to not really know what we're going to get from Jacoby Brissett is very, very interesting. All right, we've got 2 more games to get to, but we have hit 400 likes. You guys are doing your part. You're absolutely doing your part. And we're only 65 likes away from the coveted 500 number. So if you haven't done it yet, pound that like button. Here are our next 4 winners. At Props Wolf, at C.Carter NYC. You got one, you lucky devil. At Chevy Muscle 218, and then at Dodge Yanks 2. Wait a second. Is that Jay Smooth with the Dodge Yanks 2? I don't know if that's him or not. The jeweler will reach out to you on social media and give you all the details, but you have access to SportsLine for the next year. You're welcome, by the way. Let's get to 500 real quick. All right, we got a couple more games to get to, guys, and then we got to get out of here. Give everybody a chance to get all these plays in before we hit the top of the hour. This, to me, is the game of the week, and it should be because it's right now at a pick 'em. The Bucs going on the road to SoFi Stadium, taking on the Rams, 4:25 Eastern start. The total, a very robust 55.5. Maestro, let's have you start.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this game, but if you forced me, I would probably take the Rams as a home dog. Sean McVay has been great at home and also in September, and you have no Antonio Brown, you have no Jason Pierre-Paul, but I'm staying away because I'm just going to enjoy this one.
All right, Mikey, I know you're on the Bucs.
Yeah, I'm on the Bucs, and I was unfortunately on it before, maybe 2 hours before we got the news about Antonio Brown, which obviously is not ideal. However, as I've outlined, I have some pretty major concerns about this Rams defense. I don't think they're as good as we think they are, particularly against the run. I think Leonard Fournette is going to be heavily involved in this game, in both the running and the passing game, as they look to make it up. And frankly, I think that Scotty Miller is still capable with Tom Brady as his quarterback and all the attention on Godwin. I expect Godwin to be in the slot a lot. I expect Ramsey to be on him a lot. They'll have the shots to Mike Evans, but I really think it's going to be dumping the ball to Fournette a little bit. I think they're going to hit Scotty Miller I like them still. I think that the other thing I talked about many times is there's just no home field advantage really when you're talking about Los Angeles teams, especially when it's a team that is of public interest. So we're talking the Cowboys. Tom Brady is his own team, frankly, when he travels there. So I don't think there's much of a home field advantage to be had here for the Rams, and I don't think the market fully priced that in. Obviously, sucks that Antonio Brown got ruled out, but I'm still on the Bucs.
Okay. Now, I know, Alex, you've got a couple of props that you like in this game as well on both sides of the fence. What do you like?
Yeah, quite a few, Coach. I'll start with your favorite, Robert Woods, over 0.5 rushing yards.
I love this one.
Yeah, Woods has had 60 rushing attempts the last 3 seasons for the Rams. It's an average of 1.3 attempts per game. He has a career average of 6.9 yards per carry. So this prop largely just comes down to whether or not you think he's going to receive a carry in the game. If we zoom in a little bit closer, he's had at least 1 rushing attempt in 15 of his last 18 regular season games. He's gone over this half yard in 13 of those games. Good for a hit rate of 72%. Having lost Cam Akers, no Henderson either. I believe that Sean McVay is going to continue to lean on wide receiver end around plays to generate some rushing yards. And I think Woods will be the primary beneficiary. Sticking with the Rams, Sony Michel, who is now going to be starting for Los Angeles. His prop was out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it's at right now, but it came out, I think, at 58.5 rushing yards. I love this under. Tampa Bay's front is just ferocious. They're, in my opinion, the best rush defense in the NFL. I don't think that's, I think that's pretty common sentiment. Not only are they a great rush defense, but teams don't even try to run the ball a lot against them. I think opposing teams average the fewest rushing attempts per game against Tampa Bay. So yeah, I expect Stafford to throw a ton. I like fading Sony Michel under 58.5 rushing yards.
Oh, man. It's always so tasty when you give us multiple plays in one game. I love it. All right, we are getting down to, we only have a couple minutes left in the show. We got one more game that we have to get to. So let's move on now to the Seahawks, -2 at Minnesota, 4:25 Eastern. The total, 54.5. The Seahawks have been very good when traveling to the East Coast time zone and also to the Central time zone. Mikey, let's have you start. I know everybody wants to weigh in here, and then we're going to get out of Dodge so people can get their plays in. What do you like here in this game, if anything, Mikey?
Yeah, this is another one that I played early in the week. I played Seattle -2. I think they're the better team. I think Seattle is simply underrated still. I will say I don't necessarily like that Dalvin Cook is out. We've seen this in the past. Madison is fully capable of replacing him. And in this league, running backs really, really, really do not matter much. And sometimes they actually hurt the team. When they force feed targets and force feed touches in certain ways, I think that this opens this team up quite a bit. So I'm a little nervous about it, but I do still have the edge in the simulations on Seattle -2. But I think we could be looking at a pretty massive shootout in this one, and I'd be leaning towards the over now.
And I'm going to lean the other way with the 0-2 team coming home against a 1-1 team. This Vikings team could easily be 2-0. The atmosphere is going to be crazy. Total desperation with Cook. I believe he has not been officially ruled out yet, but if he is officially ruled out, maybe you even get 2.5, maybe even get a 3 on Minnesota. Kirk Cousins, 72% completions, 5 TDs, no picks. So I agree with Mikey that I don't think missing Cook is going to hurt them that much.
I hate to say it, but RJ White is also with Mikey on the Seahawks side. I'm just saying. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Can we get to 500 likes over the course of the next minute or so? If you haven't hit it yet, please hit it quickly. Hopefully we'll get there. But, I always like to wrap up the show with the recap and then final thoughts. So what does our recap screen look like today, Jeweler? I'm sure it looks glorious, and if you don't have it,
why don't you just hit everyone with their final thoughts real quick, and then
there you go. I apologize. You've been so crazy busy behind the scenes, and I just hung you out to dry. All right, our final thoughts before we wrap it up, as we are getting close to the top of the hour. Maestro, let's start with you and just go right around the horn, Mikey, and then Alex, bring it home.
I'll just stick with that game. I'm very curious to watch. This game is either Mike Zimmer is still what Mike Zimmer is, coming off a loss. We know he's great. Playing at home, we know he's great. The ATS numbers are unbelievable in those spots. And this is it. I mean, if they lose this game at home, you can almost put a cap on the Mike Zimmer era. So I think we're going to find out if that still holds or if maybe it is time to turn the page, and especially in terms of him being an ATS machine.
Yep, I'm right there with you. It's a brutal spot for him. It's their must-win game, and it's probably the team that I would not least like to play in a must-win game. Russell Wilson here, these weapons that they have to defend. So right there with you. Other final thoughts. I am very high on Travis Kelce today. I haven't played his props yet, but I'll be looking to live bet the Chiefs in game. I think they start slow against the Chargers here a little bit. And other than that, smash the like button. Let's give some more subs away.
Yeah, I'm super looking forward to that Chiefs-Chargers game. I think that's going to be very entertaining. We're going to see a lot of offense. I'm also can't wait to watch the Tom Brady, Matt Stafford duel. I think that game's going to be explosive, a ton of passing, a ton of offense. So, yeah, I'm just ready for a great day of football and a ton of props, Coach.
Oh, I know. If I can talk props with you, that you're in your happy place. One final YouTube comment that I love. My Erica in the YouTube comment says, I logged into my wife's account just so I could pound that like button one more time. That is dedication to the cause. That is being a true team player. We did not get to 500. We got very, very close, but hopefully next week we can do that. Or tonight during our 7 o'clock show, we'll be here 7 to 8 Eastern time, counting down to Sunday Night Football and looking back at all of our plays from the day. That's going to do it. You know what time it is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For Prop Stars, for M Squared, for the Maestro, for the Jeweler, I am the coach. Enjoy the games this afternoon. We'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And tell your friends and tell your wives, thank you, Erica, that this is the Early Edge. Good luck.
Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.